Hey internet, welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally going to do a video I've been planning to do for a really long time now, and it is the planners that I used in 2022. So this is actually, now that I look at it, it feels like a lot of planners, but I actually feel like this is still quite a lot less than say what I was using back in 2019 or 2020. Maybe I'm kidding myself, probably kidding myself, but anyways, let's just get right into it. And I will also share a few thoughts about what I plan to do for 2023 as well. So first planner up is my Whistle and Birch vertical planner. This has not gotten as much love as I used to give my vertical planners in the previous years. Oh, by the way, if you're looking for a 2021 comparison video, I pretty much dropped off the face of the earth at the end of that year because of my pregnancy, so you won't see a comparison video or flip through of my 2021 planners or anything like that, which is really sad because those planners were very heavily used up until around November, and because I just didn't feel like filming anything, I just packed them all away into archive, and so they're pretty much gone. So hopefully this video makes up for it. But this definitely hasn't gotten the love that I had hoped. You can see there's quite a few empty pages here, and I'm in two minds about whether I want to go back and retrospectively, so some of them are actually not too bad, retrospectively fill these in again so that I can do a proper flip through video. I'm not quite sure. Part of me is like, I should just leave it because that is what it was at the time. But then another part of me is like, oh, but I really want to make sure that all the right memories are captured, because I basically use this planner for memory keep. And I have a lot of good memories when it comes to the vertical planner, to be honest. However, for 2023, it could be the last year I do vertical planning. I'm not quite sure yet. I think I'm always going to have a vertical planner for the shop, so I will do spreads specifically to test new kits and to share spreads on what the kits will look like. But personally, for me, in terms of memory keeping, I found myself slowly gravitating towards a Hobonichi Weeks instead. I found it a little easier to maintain. There's just so much space in these sort of planners, and I find it kind of unnecessarily time consuming for some reason. I don't know. I'm really short on time nowadays, so I'm always looking for things that are much faster, and it does take a certain amount of headspace to sit down and put down stickers and then find the right stickers and all that sort of stuff. But then I look back at it now and it's like, I really love it. Especially, I did this spread, which will always be like my favorite spread. It's the week that my son was born, so I don't know. I'm still in two minds. I had bought, oh yeah, and that's the other thing, I did buy a Whistle and Birch planner for 2023, but they've changed the format. Like this part here is now on this side, so I really don't quite like it. So I actually think I might just stop using Whistle and Birch, which breaks my heart because I love that brand so much, especially because they're a Melbourne-based planner company, and the owner is kind of like me. The planner business is her side hustle while she does a day job, so I really want to support her, but I really don't love the new format. It just doesn't work with my kits. It doesn't work with the way I plan. Like, I really prefer having this here and then the week spread out like this. So I've purchased one from Plum Paper Planner, and that hasn't arrived yet, so we'll see how that goes. But if that one works out better, then that's probably where I'll do my vertical planning next year. So yes, this was predominantly memory keep. This is the one that I've started moving into for memory keeping instead, and I just find it so much easier because the spreads are just so much smaller. You can see here, it's still basically memory keeping, but it also forces me to just really focus on the core memories that I value from the day, rather than just trying to regurgitate a schedule of the day and some core moments, because I already have enough planners that talk about the schedule for the day, right? So I really just want to highlight core memories I like to reminisce about and go back on. And then I started using this side here just to write down the actual memories that maybe are a bit more wordy and doesn't really fit here. I love that so many of my recent ones have been lack of sleep and a slightly, he's not sick, but he's just, you know, babies chuck up a lot because they're still figuring out how to use their digestive system. So it's dealing with a lot of throw up, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of poop. And I think I'm just going to really love looking back on this from years to come and just be like, oh, I remember those days, the good old days when Bubs was still so small. So I think this is something I want to carry through definitely for next year. And it's so small as well. It's easier to travel with. I can This is the planner that I use kits in, so I have a bunch of kits at the back that I use. So I go very sticker heavy on this particular one, and I love it. So that's what I started transitioning to memory keeping for, and I think 2023 I'm probably going to do the same. It's my much preferred method. Alright, in terms of other Hobonichis, so I have 2 more. It feels strange to say that I need 3 Hobonichi planners, but it just kind of worked out that way. So this one is really like my bread and butter functional planner. I actually bought this originally for work, where I would just jot down notes for work, for meetings, and to-do lists. Then I went on maternity leave, and I found I actually prefer this for everything, because let me show you, say here's a spread. What I really love is that you can really only put maybe 6 to-dos on a day, and if you think about it, can you really do much more? You probably can. Maybe I can't. But it really forces me to prioritize my tasks for the day, instead of just like in my cousin, you'll see I can just write an extensive to-do list and maybe get 3 items done. But for here, it really forces me to prioritize my tasks, and I often think like, what are the 3 things I need to get done, or maybe what is the one thing I want to get done today, because often it's just hard to find time when you're looking after a baby. So if I can just have one thing outside of motherhood that I can get done, I'll put it down here, and then I'll feel really accomplished. Like, it actually makes me feel really good to know that I got that one thing done. So that's kind of why I like the shorter amount of space. I've been using all these little sticker icons for my shop. I just started introducing these black and white icons in Happy Cloud Ink, and I've been finding them super useful. So I'm going to extend the range by a lot, especially in 2023. I'm hoping to get hundreds more icons, because I just find them so useful. These bar stickers are when we bathe Bubs, and then gaming is when we do game nights with Violet and Jimmy. And there's just so many more things I want to denote, like, because at a glance I can kind of see, like, red is what is it? In Australia we have like a green bin, a yellow bin, and a red bin, so it's red bin night. You can see I have my Instagram posts and my YouTube posting and Etsy posts as well. So this side, what I use it for, and I still haven't quite figured what I'm going to use this part. I think I'm going to change the format a little for 2023 so that I can utilize the space better. Maybe like the whole thing can be to-dos and then this stuff goes here. I'm not quite sure, but anyways, I'll think about it later. I like putting down my dinners for the week, and then I have a running to-do list. So when I said that my Hobonichi cousin has like massive to-do lists, I still, at the start of the week, it is not super clear to me if I'm going to get all the things I'd like to get done in that week done, if that makes sense. So what I usually do, start of the week, I'll set this up, and then I will write down a bunch of things that ideally I would love to get done this week. If I already know, say like Mondays for going to be working on orders, I don't bother putting it down here because I know for sure on Monday I'm going to do it. So I put it on the day that I'm pretty much 100% sure it's going to happen. But then these ones, I'm just not quite sure what day they're going to go on. Like, it could be a Monday, it could be a Wednesday, and I don't want to write it down and take up the space unnecessarily and then it doesn't get ticked off. So if it's something in the vicinity that I'd like to get done or needs to get done during the week, I'll put it down here first, and then I might transfer it over if it makes sense. But you can see some stuff like budget for December, I did do that, but you don't really see it anywhere here because I just did it, and there's really no point in writing it down and kind of being repetitive about it. So I'm really, really loving this planner. I'm definitely doing it again for 2023. Let me show you the monthly views. It's pretty much just my schedule. There's not much to it. In terms of like the bins, videos going up, social media calendar, just general events happening. And it's very simple. You don't really see many stickers. Like, you might see these are transfer stickers that I've really gotten into, and then just the icon stickers, but I keep it pretty minimal in terms of design. Very different from this one, and I like it because it just helps me focus and really do what's necessary, as opposed to, it's just not a decorative planner, this is a functional planner. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen this already, where I tracked my weight for my pregnancy in the first half of the year, and then this part I'm postpartum, so I've been tracking my steps instead. And then the last bit, I'm not sure I can show it because I do include a bit of sensitive information. I probably won't flip through. It's the notes section. I mean, for the most part, I've not been using the notes section, but I have been starting to add things like, oh, actually, I can show you my trackers in here. I've been putting like, trying to track things like vacuum. So this isn't to say I haven't been vacuuming my house. I just haven't been filling out the tracker. It hasn't come very naturally to me to fill this out yet. So I still want to include them for next year, but I need to think about how I will actually use the tracker more efficiently. So vacuuming the different parts of the house, upstairs, downstairs, and in that week, did I vacuum? Same for like mopping the floor. Do I do it once a month? Cleaning the ice filter, water filter, replacing the fire alarm. This is wiping and dusting. Like, do I do that once a week? I definitely clean very regularly. It happens about once a week, but I just haven't filled out the tracker for it. So I've been using it for that. I do intend to try doing something similar for next year as well. Let me just see what else I've got. Oh, it's just, yeah, it's just really random. Like you can see here, task for Happy Clouding. What else? Oh, here I was trying to work out what all my devices were for, because I have a couple devices and I'm trying to actually downsize my electronics. So I was like, well, I need this for this and I don't use this one, so maybe I can sell it. I did try doing a little bit of journaling in here. So I predominantly use the Cousin for journaling, but I did try doing it in here just to see if in 2023 I was considering giving up the Cousin and just doing all my mental health stuff in the same journal. So it's like functional and mental health at the same time. I haven't quite worked out if I like it or not. Like, I use this format I've actually found from, I think, Buttercup Planner or Buttercup Plans. If I remember, I'll link their account down below. It's this beautiful Hobonichi Weeks account I found on Instagram, and their spreads are so inspiring. So I tried taking a leaf out of their book and give this a shot. And I'm not quite sure whether I like it or not. I'm still debating on it. And then here is my December Instagram plan. So we are just on cello. I'm on this music instrument spree where I'm like listing all the instruments I want to buy and start learning. I don't know why suddenly I feel like I want to do that. I think it's because I play piano. I was about to do my diploma in piano and then I got my first full-time job, so I put that on hold. But now that I have Bubs, I've been going back into piano so much more just to play for him, get him to play the piano with me. I mean, he's just a baby, so he doesn't actually play, he more hits the piano, but it's kind of nice to share some of the things that I'm passionate about with him, and it kind of ignited this like excitement to pick up new instruments. So anyways, I digress. So you can see the notes is very like no set usage for it just yet. This is the week's mega and this is the regular one. So I think next year I'm also going to get the mega with the idea that I might transfer my journaling into it. I don't know. Okay, I'll explain why I'm not sure. So this is my Cousin for 2022. And this, basically the Cousin was my bread and butter planner for 2020. Yeah, 2020. I relied on this so much. 2021 as well. But it's kind of tapered off because when I started having to go, like, it was my bread and butter during the pandemic. But when there were times I had to physically go into the office, I realized that I couldn't use this anymore because it was too big. Firstly, it was a bit heavier to carry with me, but it felt weird opening up this journal. And so you see, like, I haven't filled out everything, but give you an example. Yeah, so you open this up. This is my to-do list, and I would put everything I needed to do. My work stuff, my personal stuff, my side hustle stuff. And then here I would share all my raw emotions about the day. And it felt really awkward to open this up in the office, have my to-do list, and have my coworkers see all these pictures and stuff that I drew. So I ended up trying to rethink how I was going to use the Cousin because I'm on maternity leave at the moment, so it's fine for me to do that. But when I go back into the office in the middle of 2023, it no longer would make sense to use the Cousin for that reason. And that's a big reason why I decided to use this planner instead, because I don't really put any emotion into this. It's purely functional. And so it is easy for me to open at work. It's much lighter, so I can carry it when I walk to the office, because sometimes I'll go to the city office and it's about a 45-minute walk to the station and back. So it just is a lot lighter and easier to carry. So yeah. However, there's things in this journal that I can't replicate in this one. and that's the struggle I'm in at the moment. So let me just quickly flip through. This is what the monthly view looks like. Actually, this is my habit trackers. So I use these to track all the habits that I used to track in my bullet journal in here. And this is what the monthly view looks like. This is why I wish I could show you 2021, because I actually use these as moods for the day. Let me see if I can find my 2021 planner. Oh my gosh, success. So this is how I wanted to do it for 2022, but it just didn't quite work out because I started experimenting with the weeks heavier in 2022. But this is what my monthly views used to look like. Every day I would write how I'm feeling and a little emoji, whatever, to describe it. And I love this so much. Like this, like I love flipping back on this and just looking at it. And most of this was at the time I had already experienced my miscarriage, so I was trying to conceive, and so much of this was about how I was feeling. And I mean, that was a big reason why I started doing this, because I was going down a really bad spiral and worried that I might not be able to have kids anymore. So this really helped me stay calm, stay stable, and I really want to bring this back. Because quite honestly, during that time in my life, whilst it was really stressful, I had not spent so much time focusing on my own mental health, and I think I really got it to a good place for the most part. I mean, yes, during the pregnancy it wasn't so great, but I was really looking after myself. So I really love this, and unfortunately I didn't have the sense to replicate it for 2022, but I think for 2023, if I stick with the cousin, I'm going to go back to doing something like this. So then I go into the weekly view, and it is, I started just highlighting it like this, like work and then sleeping. It was very, I don't know, uninspiring. And then when Bubs came along, I started actually tracking things like, so the green is how much he was sleeping, the gray is how much I was sleeping, and then the red was each time we fed him. And so you can see for quite a few weeks, I was just kind of going crazy with like how often I was feeding him and how often he was sleeping. It was a little insane. This all gets tracked in an app now. I don't bother doing it here, but I did try this for a little bit. And I don't quite like this setup. And then towards the end of the year, I went back to trying to put down my events, weather tracking. Honestly, I don't really love how I've been using the weekly view here. However, I really loved how I did the weekly view for 2021. It's so, like I was doing weather tracking, but it was like an outline of the day. So this wasn't planning the day. This was almost like retrospectively showing my schedule for the day and what happened. A little bit of emotional planning as well, but for the most part, it was functionally what I was doing, which is exactly why a memory keep journal is great, because what I mean is, which is why having a small memory keep journal is great, because I don't need to I don't have to map my schedule anymore, whereas in my vertical planner, I was doing both memory keeping as well as my schedule, but now I've kind of separated them, and I actually really like them being separate. So I think if I use the cousin for 2023, I want to go back to doing this. I really love some of the things I did in 2021. Some of these spreads are just so fun. I love this rainbow one. Anyways, this is not a 2021 planner spread flip through, but you can just see how there's different progressions. So I tried using a kit here, but yeah, I just don't know. I just can't get myself to use this the way I wanted to. And because I didn't start off using it the way I wanted to, there's like a part of me doesn't feel motivated to start now. And then we go on to the daily view. So this is the other part that I struggle to figure out how I'm going to fit this into this. Not just the two things I mentioned before, like the whole weekly view and the summary of the day view, because those two won't fit in here, and that's a big reason why I want to keep the cousin. But the gratitudes. So some days I have a lot to journal, some days I have like nothing to journal at all, and I don't really care if I have blank days, because that's just life. And that would work okay for this, because I just have days that I skipped entirely. But where do I put the gratitudes? Like, one thing I just love is just this view where I have my 3 gratitudes a day, and then enough space to just babble on about anything I want for the day. It's been very cathartic and I really love it. But the thing that annoys me is this to-do list section here, because this is essentially redundant now. I don't really need to have a to-do list here. I have this for it, and I don't refer to this there was a time when I was doing both and I was almost like replicating the to-do list between the two journals. So every time I needed to tick something off, I'd have to open both journals, and I was like, what is the point of having planners for the sake of just making them look pretty? They're supposed to help me be productive, or they're supposed to add value into my life, not like pull me down because I want to keep them consistent. So that was kind of a real mental wake-up call that I need to figure out, why do I need this many journals, or if I do, how can I get them to serve me better? So that's the biggest dilemma for 2023, is if I want to keep journaling, that's fine, gratitude's fine, what do I do with this space? I was like, should I move my gratitudes up? Should I change this to be something? I don't know. I'm still completely unsure what to do. I go online looking for inspiration all the time, but I cannot find, you can see sometimes I just color instead. I cannot find any sort of help on how people manage that. So I kind of hate that both of these duplicate each other to some degree, but I feel like in my mind this should be a purely functional journal, and this could be my mental health journal, which means I need to get rid of the to-do lists in here. And I think I just got really attached to the idea that I could have an extensively long to-do list. Like there are some days where I would just write, of course now I can't find it, but yeah, some days the to-do lists are really long and they wouldn't fit here. But you can see that I probably didn't need to make them that long. There's some things in here that either don't need to be here, or I didn't fill them out anyways. So yeah. Anyways, so those are my Hobonichi. This is the last one, which I didn't really use, but I thought I would share it anyways. It's kind of like half used. I still need to finish it up. It's still empty in some aspects, but this is my annual bullet journal. So I really stopped doing bullet journaling for the year. I just didn't enjoy it as much. I prefer something that was already set up for me. I might get back into it. I've seen people starting to use those like really tiny A6 bullet journals, and I could see myself getting into that. Because I think the problem I have with the A5 bullet journals is just there's too much space, and I struggle to fill it out. I feel like there's this pressure on me to fill it out, and I feel like most people who utilize the A5 easily are very artistic and can draw. I cannot draw, so it didn't make sense. But this is the journal that I wanted to use like once a year, if that makes sense. There are some things that I want to track every year, and I want to be able to go back to previous years and see how things went. So that's why I kind of decided to create this bullet journal. I haven't really seen anyone do something similar, so I don't know if this is a common thing or not. But you can see I have a few pages dedicated to 2021, and then I now have a few pages dedicated to 2022, and I think I may have already set up 2023. Yeah, I set up 2023. It's literally just a few pages, which means I can hopefully have like a couple decades in here, and it would be such a nice journal to look back upon. But every year I track slightly different things. So here it's just my leave planner, holidays, all that sort of stuff. This is for 2021. I had some goals which I didn't necessarily fill out. My gratitude, which you can see like I stopped doing it towards the end of the year. Books that I read one book. And then here I was tracking my meals, like what I was eating for breakfast, lunch and dinner, eating out, that sort of thing. Again, dropped off the face of the earth towards the end of the year. These are all the videos that I managed to upload. Again, stopped in October and just dropped off the face. It's a very common theme. And then that was it. So in 2022, I followed a very similar vein, but I still need to finish filling it out. There's still a lot of empty space. So I have my gratitudes, which I haven't really filled up properly. Books, because I actually haven't read a full book yet. I have started probably 5 books, but I have not completed them, and I don't feel ready to put these in until I've completed them. Bubby books. So these are the books that my son has been reading. He hasn't been reading, I've been reading to him. We go to the library once a week and we borrow lots of different books, and I read them all to him every day, sometimes multiple times a day. And I wanted to journal in his books as well, so I haven't actually had time to sit down and do that. He has gone through many books right now, and I take photos of them with my phone so I remember what they look like so I can draw these in. So I don't know whether I might take this with me on a trip so I have time to sit down and draw them in. That might be really cute. YouTube videos. So I didn't do much uploading at the start of the year, and then you can see by May I just came back with a vengeance and I've just started uploading again. But it's the end of the year and I still need to add more, fill it out. My Etsy shop, so releases for 2022, because I got really motivated this year and I want to do more releases for 2023. So yeah, so I've started 2023. I'll just let you have a quick look. There's hardly anything in here. I think whatever I'm doing in 2022 here, I'm probably going to replicate in 2023, because I do want to go much harder on the shop, be much more diligent about it, go good on YouTube, and then spend more time reading. Oh, by the way, this is an Archer and Olive journal. I don't know if I mentioned that at the start, but it's an Archer and Olive and it just has a plastic wrap around it. And the reason I put a plastic wrap around it is because I think this journal is going to be with me for many years, so I just want to make sure I protect it as best I can. But yeah, those are all the journals I used for 2022. Let me know what you guys think. I feel like I'm just a muddly mess when I talk about this sort of stuff, and I'm starting to lose my voice because I'm talking so much. But this is my authentic use of the journals. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Thank you so much for watching. This is Celina reporting from my room. Back to you, internet.